న్యూస్ గ్యాస్ట్రోఎంట్రాలజీ విభాగంలో తమకంటూ ప్రత్యేక స్థానం సంపాదించుకున్న AIG హాస్పిటల్స్ మరో అరుదైన ఘనత సాధించింది. కెనడాకు చెందిన సాటిస్ఫై సంస్థతో కలిసి గ్యాస్ట్రోఎంట్రాలజీ, గ్యాస్ట్రో ఇంటెస్టినల్ ఎండోస్కోపీ విభాగంలో ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ను ప్రవేశపెట్టింది. దీని ద్వారా రోగ నిర్ధారణ, చికిత్స ఇకపై మరింత సులభతరం కానుంది. ఈ సందర్భంగా AIG హాస్పిటల్స్ ఓ ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఏర్పాటు చేసి ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ఆవశ్యకతను వివరించింది. సంస్థ చైర్మన్ డాక్టర్ డి నాగేశ్వర్ రెడ్డి, AIG హాస్పిటల్స్ ఎండోస్కోపీ విభాగం డైరెక్టర్ డాక్టర్ రాకేష్ కలపల, కెనడాకు చెందిన సాటిస్ఫై హాస్పిటల్ చైర్మన్ డాక్టర్ మైకేల్ ఎఫ్ బైండ్, చీఫ్ ఆపరేటింగ్ ఆఫీసర్ ఆండ్రూ స్ట్రిప్స్ ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొన్నారు. సాధారణ విధానంలో గుర్తించలేని అనేక సమస్యలు ఈ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ద్వారా గుర్తించొచ్చని, దీనివల్ల రోగులకు మరింత మెరుగైన చికిత్స అందించడం సులభమవుతుందని డాక్టర్ నాగేశ్వర్ రెడ్డి, డాక్టర్ రాకేష్ కలపల వివరించారు.
This is one of the most important projects for them also, because what is going to happen is that this large data that we have, introducing artificial intelligence in a big way in our country is going to transform the way that endoscopy is practiced. It's going to transform the way that we're going to recognize cancers, early cancers, and also transform the way we're going to treat these cancers. So it's going to be a big step forward. I think we're all, as Michael said, we're all very excited about getting into this, because this is a collaboration which has huge potentials and a huge future. We'd like to thank them, especially thank our Canadian High Commissioner also for all his nice comments. Of course, Satisfy Health is a partner now with AIG, and hopefully this partnership will carry forward to bring about some very important scientific contributions to this field. So what we'll do now is we'll now leave it open for any question and answers from the press. I know that this is a difficult subject even for gastroenterologists or even for medical doctors, because this is an area which is a lot of terminology that Rakesh has already let you know has come in, and we are starting to understand each of this. But this is a very exciting area, and is definitely going to transform medical health and how we as practitioners practice medicine. That when we are doing a colonoscopy, the human eye has got a certain angle and certain fatigue involved. So we can miss some of the polyps, especially behind the fold and so on. So with this AI now, we'll increase the number of polyps detected, or we'll increase the number of missing polyps. So that is the first important thing. So we're going to pick up more polyps. The second important thing is we can characterize the polyps. If the polyp has got a certain features on the surface, with that we can say whether we are dealing with an ordinary type of polyp, we call it in medical terms hyperplastic polyp, or we're dealing with a more dangerous type of polyp which has got a high-grade dysplasia which will go into cancer. So this type of differentiation is done very easily, and we can, of course, when the polyp is high-grade, then immediately we remove this polyp. When the polyp is hyperplastic, we just leave it alone, because we don't want to waste the money of the patient in taking it out, sending for biopsy. So this is one aspect of it. Second aspect is how early. In fact, this early detection is based upon certain very small changes in the mucosa, which a very experienced person after 30-40 years in this field, we can detect and say this is likely to be an early cancer or early polyp in this area. Normal people won't be able to detect it. Now, for a normal person, this has to grow for another year or 2 years before he can detect it. But using this experience of this very experienced person, putting it into artificial intelligence, even an inexperienced person will detect this lesion, very early lesion, before it becomes prominent, maybe a year before it is even can be detected by anybody. So you can detect it much earlier based upon some like vascularity on the surface, or the type of picture of pits and all. Based on that, we can even detect it even before it has come out as a nice polyp.
So these are the systems that assist doctors to interpret the medical images. And you have the artificial intelligence and computer vision, which will make interdisciplinary technology. And this is the key word which is used across, and which is already there in pathology and radiology, and now in the field of gastroenterology. For example, if you see the examples of CAD so far, so you have the breast ultrasound, MR, and also the CT computer tomography of the thorax and echocardiography. So as Dr. Reddy told, in GI you have the colonoscopy where you detect the polyps, and also there are a few studies which have been done on the lesions in the liver. and whole body PET imaging also AI can be incorporated. And there are some neuro models where the experiments are going on, and probably that is again a neuronal imaging where you have a lot of role of the AI to play. So as I told you, you see there is a car here, and as you see the second, third, and fourth images, it has been minutely specified, classified into small parts of the whole Audi car here. And at the end of the last one, where you have, that is the image which makes you, and that's the interpretation what the deep neural network does. So minute images are created and they are stored. Suppose you have 10 a million images, and there are 4 or 5 of those images will correlate with the new image what you create. For example, if you have a colonoscopy or endoscopy being done, there is an image which is being stored by you. So there is a data of around 1 million or 1 trillion images which will try to correlate that with this existing image, and they'll give you a diagnosis of that. So that is what we want, and that is where the human error can be overcome. For example, this is actually a publication from Michael Bynes' group, where you see the mucosal inspection, you found a polyp. So you do an optical biopsy. That means that you don't have to do a biopsy and wait for the pathologist to comment on. Then and there, you put the probe on to that particular lesion, and it will give you a diagnosis of whether it is a cancer or a non-cancer, which has 99 to 100% accuracy, sensitivity, specificity. So this is where I think probably the entire world, there will be a paradigm shift in the field of these imaging modalities. So as I told you, if you broadly classify this, and what we are looking with this collaboration with Satisfy and AIG Hospitals, polyp detection and differentiation is one. Then inflammatory bowel diseases, you have the mucosal healing and dysplasia, early gastric cancers, which can be missed or overlooked in the routine endoscopy. Probably with applying artificial intelligence, you can catch them. If you build the algorithms using AI, then the detection, that is diagnosis, and even the treatments will be very easy in the near future. And if you can establish roles in this, then it will be a big leap in the medical technology. So transfer learning is, you have a knowledge which you procure with this kind of endoscopy related AI, then you extrapolate that into different areas. See, there are a lot of endoscopies being done across the world, and as Dr. Reddy told, we have one of the highest volumes we have in Asia, but we don't have the data to capture it. So if you capture the data and build algorithms with data analytics of big data, that will be a big boom in this, or revolution in this field of technology.